Hello again, friends. Matt with Eddie's Guitars coming to you as always from St. Louis, Missouri, and we sure appreciate you joining us a bit earlier than normal on this lovely Friday afternoon here in St. Louis, Missouri. We've got tornado warnings rolling in all afternoon, so we'll see if our roof stays on throughout the course of this live stream. No promises, of course, but once again, we do appreciate you joining us. We're going to be taking a look at some filthy amazing guitars today, and we're starting off this batch with a lovely little Huss and Dalton T0014. This has a couple little custom tweaks up its sleeve that we were able to apply to it, but I'm such a fan of the just standard base model T0014 from Huss and Dalton. It's a incredibly responsive little 14 fret 00 guitar. It is a short scale guitar coming in at 24.9 inches from the nut to the saddle down here. Jandro, if you don't mind, let's take a look at this top if we could here, please. We've got a Thermo-Cured Sitka spruce top on this example here, one of the custom features on this particular guitar. Beautiful specimen as well. This is, of course, the torrified Sitka spruce from our friends at Huss and Dalton. Kind of an 18 style package in terms of the appointments on the guitar. It's got a nice dark tortoiseshell binding with a rather simple black and white, couple different layers of black and white purfling there right on the top with a matching rosette. Of course, the matching tortoiseshell pickguard as well. The back and sides of this guitar are a lovely set of nice straight grain Honduran rosewood with a nice dark, kind of a dark walnut stain to it as well. Very sharp and just a very simple, if we can get up close on it there, very simple thin black back strip going right down the center of the back of that guitar. Real sharp stuff there. Take a quick look at this headstock while we've got it there. We've got a rosewood veneer on the face of the headstock, of course, with the mother of pearl Huss and Dalton logo all the way up top. Those are the oval keyed nickel Waverly tuning machines as well. I love those kind of old school tuning machines. Just a real simple dot inlay on the fingerboard as well, kind of a diminishing dot. Gets smaller as you get up higher on the fingerboard there. This guitar has the standard 1 3/4 inch nut width, a very comfortable 2 7/32 spacing down here at the bridge. Just a very, very comfortable setup all the way across. And of course, this has the standard neck profile for the T0014 model, being a very soft, very comfortable V profile neck, kind of a modified V, not a terribly pronounced sharp V profile to this at all. It's nice and rounded and refined, has a good feel in your hand for sure, and just a crisp and pure sound. A lot of clarity, great mid-range to it. Nice level of sustain with just a sprinkle of harmonics in there, kind of on the light side, but I do like the little bit of spaciousness around this guitar. It's not a totally bone dry sound, which I definitely like. Definitely capable of handling some solid, chunky rhythm. Beautiful sound, man. All of the Huss and Dalton guitars, including the one I'm holding, are braced with Adirondack spruce. The particular bracing style in this guitar is fully scalloped. It has sort of a forward shifted center of that X brace, giving you a lot of movement to this this lower, bigger bout down here. I think that's definitely contributing to the good balance that the smaller guitar has, and definitely a good bass response out of this guitar. Nice and full. It's definitely not thin sounding at all, which again really helps with that nice balanced kind of sound throughout. Very, very solid spruce and mahogany tone, though. Very solid. Folks, as always, joining me behind the controls is my good friend, Mr. Jandro. Please say hello to Jandro.
How's it going, guys?
Always appreciate him turning the knobs and working the cameras and everything and making this whole production actually work. So if you have any questions for either myself or Jandro, do not be shy. That is exactly why we're here.
Got some familiar faces in the chat today. Remos Forza,
Nice.
Bob Kreitz, Rowith, Zach Thong, David Vandermolen, Jim Bayerly, Ian Cummings.
All of our friends are here.
The hitters.
Nice. Very
Renee
nice.
Peterson, Tomas Montano.
Nice.
On the topic of, well, first question I got. Torrefied Adirondack versus Sinker Redwood in the finger-picking application. Thoughts?
Oh, two very different woods that can produce two very different tones. Your torrefied Adirondack is definitely going to give you way more of that strong, punchy mid-range, where typically the Sinker Redwood is going to be warmer, a little bit sweeter, still have good drive to it because it's Sinker Redwood, but the mid-range presence is going to be the most noticeable thing right off the bat. The Redwood is not going to have the same mid-range or the same sort of attitude, or I almost call it growl, that the Adirondack is going to have. Just a little bit more drive to the sound of the Adirondack. I would also anticipate having a little bit more headroom out of the Adirondack compared to the Redwood. So good question. Two very different tops. Always fun to compare stuff like that.
And real quickly, can you give a quick difference between Honduran and Indian Rosewood?
Honduran Rosewood to me has more depth and more shimmer typically than Indian Rosewood. Indian Rosewood is a great tone wood. It's a very well balanced tone wood. Honduran tends to have more wood, more depth, more. It sounds older, I guess, is maybe the simplest way to say it. A little bit more in the direction of your kind of classic Brazilian rosewood kind of tone compared to the little bit tighter kind of feeling and sounding Indian Rosewood. Good question.
Cool.
I'm probably going to repeat myself at least 40 times throughout the live stream today, but we have an incredible lineup of instruments behind me today. And the next one off the wall is this wonderful Froggy bottom Model C Deluxe. This is an absolute knockout guitar. goodness. It's a much larger sounding guitar than what I am actually holding here. Folks, as I said, this is the Model C Deluxe. This is essentially Froggy Bottom's interpretation on kind of the 12 fret 00 size guitar. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe, someone in the comments correct me if I am mistaken, I believe C actually stands for concert model, which is kind of another word for a 00 in so many words. Jandro, if we could take a look at these absolutely incredible woods here, I would love to do that. You can see a beautiful Adirondack spruce top on this guitar. Nice wide grain to that. Very typical from what you see from Froggy Bottom and their Adirondack spruce offerings, which is lovely looking stuff. Nice blonde color. Body of this guitar you can see is bound in a nice curly koa binding there. Great golden color. Nice kind of a simple purfling again on the top of the guitar. We do have that very colorful abalone rosette going around the sound hole there. Of course, the classic, nice small, I just love their tiny little pick guards from Froggy Bottom. Tortoiseshell pick guard there, really, really cool. Got the straight bar ebony bridge on the face of the guitar there, really clean looking. Back and sides of this beauty are a luscious set of Cocobolo. Beautiful straight grain stuff here. Boy, oh boy, I love this set of wood. Just beautiful stuff. Beautifully matching sides as well, as you saw just a moment ago. Just really a lovely looking package here. Face of the headstock has a nice dark Cocobolo veneer on the face of the headstock. That is just as sharp as it gets being a slotted headstock. Of course, we've got that abalone frog all the way up top there. The face of the headstock. We have slot head nickel Waverly tuning machines, but they do have the snake wood buttons on there, which I think just ties in with the color of that Cocobolo in a really beautiful way. Really nice. We do have the Fleur de Lis fingerboard inlays. This is the number 5 pattern Fleur de Lis fingerboard inlay from Froggy Bottom. Again, very, very sharp, classic look to these inlays. This has the standard 1 3/4 inch nut width on this guitar. Has the standard, fairly slim C profile neck. There's absolutely no presence of a V. It's a very even, very comfortable C profile. I always like to mention, just because it's something that I always appreciate playing these guitars, these do have a 20-inch fingerboard radius, which is a little bit flatter than your traditional Martin, Gibson, even Taylor are going to have a little bit more curvature to their fingerboards. This is relatively flat, and I've got to tell you, at least for my hands and how my stuff works, I just love that little bit flatter fingerboard. Doing the bar chords is easier for my hands. Just has a great feel. We upped the spacing at the bridge just to be a little bit wider. The normal spacing on this guitar would typically be 2 3/16 at the bridge. We upped it to 2 5/16, giving you just a little bit more width down here to get your fingers in there to do finger style stuff. So nice and comfortable, certainly, to do the finger style stuff. Just the size and the build style of this guitar is very intimately responsive for doing that finger style stuff. And I'll tell you, if you play finger style, and if you play finger style by yourself and you do big airy chords, stuff like that, you will get lost in this guitar for a long time. Take it from me. The voice of this really represents just a practically perfect balance of your woody, strong, fundamental notes, and then the stuff that actually surrounds the actual notes, the presence of harmonics and a bit of bloom in the sound there. Just really a very fine balance, giving it a very complex sound because of that. Nice sustain as well. Always love when a new Froggy bottom comes in, man. These are some of my all-time favorites right here. That's a good one. Model C Deluxe.
Yeah, the sound coming out of the guitar is huge.
Yes, it is.
I got a question for you. How would you compare Moon Spruce to Adirondack and Sitka in regards to tone, response, and headroom? And there's a second part, but I'll let you answer that one first.
Good question. Kind of comparing Moon Spruce, Adirondack, and Sitka Spruce. In terms of headroom, generally speaking, the Adirondack is going to be the king there. That's going to give you the most ability to really wave your right hand at it and get some good volume and good projection out of it. Moon Spruce can most certainly be a very close second to Adirondack, as well as a few other of the very nice European spruces out there that typically are of a little bit stiffer nature. Moon Spruce, to me, compared to both Adirondack and Sitka Spruce, has a wetter sound. So expect more reverb, more harmonics, more of those kind of blooming kind of things that we were hearing. We've got a German spruce top on this guitar, for example. However, it's maple back and side, so we'll see how those two kind of different things interact with each other here. But Moon Spruce, if you're looking for space in the sound, if you're looking for, again, the stuff that surrounds the actual notes themselves, Moon Spruce is one of my favorite spruces for that. It tends to also be very responsive, of course, depending on how it's braced and what kind of guitar it's going into. But and then Sitka Spruce, on the other hand, tends to kind of, at least right out of the box, being, on a new guitar type of scenario, tends to be the warmest to my ear out of the gate, which is nice if you're looking for a little bit more of a mature sounding guitar or a vintagey sounding guitar. Good old Sitka Spruce can be a fast track to get to that kind of tone.
And then one more. With so much attention paid to voicing materials, can a pickguard have a noticeable or negative effect on the guitar?
Good question. With depends on the pickguard is maybe the easiest answer, which is not an answer. As I was mentioning on that Froggy bottom back here, it has a very small, and I will tell you, it's a very thin pickguard. If I took that pickguard off that guitar and played it and listened to it really closely, I honestly doubt that I would be able to tell you whether or not that guitar had a pickguard on it. But for example, on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's guitars out there like the Gibson Hummingbird, the Gibson J200. Most models made by Gibson usually have big honking pickguards on them. Not all the time, but
Sometimes
a lot of times.
two.
Sometimes two pickguards.
Like
Yeah,
Chris
the top
Stapleton.
and the bottom. Exactly. Yeah, or the Everly Brothers J185s. That's an awful lot of.
Pickguard.
Yeah, it is, and some of them are. I'll tell you, those J200 and those Dove pickguards are not thin, and when you take them off, they're not particularly light. So, yeah, you're probably doing some dampening of the resonance of the soundboard if you're applying a big honking piece of material that wasn't really accounted for when they were very delicately voicing that guitar. So, good question.
Yeah.
We're getting some good ones today already. Nice. On to the next, folks. We've got a really gorgeous little beauty here. Ooh, I like that already. We have a Collings 03G maple back and sides. This is just such a sharp looking guitar. Jandro, let's take a close look at this thing here. We've got an almost white German spruce top on this guitar. Just a beautiful blonde top on this. Excellent, excellent specimen here. The 3 Series guitars from Collings are their somewhat dressed up models to some degree, at least. So this guitar is going to have full binding on the body, the neck, and the headstock. That's just the way they come. We can see this particular example, which not all 03s or 3 Series guitars from Collings have this. In fact, most have grained ivoroid. This example, to give it some contrast, we did that nice dark tortoise shell binding on the binding there, if I can show that to you, with a nice, almost like a 1 style purfling on the top, like an 18 style purfling. Pretty simple there, but we do have that colorful abalone rosette giving it a bit of color there. A little bit of fancy touch. Tortoiseshell pickguard again. Back and sides, as well as the neck of this guitar, are a fabulous set of beautiful flame maple. This is just a gorgeous set. And the 3 Series guitars also come with that real colorful mosaic back strip going all the way down the center of the back. That is a fabulous way to break up those 2 pieces of maple on the back of that guitar. As I said, this also has a beautiful flame maple neck, which definitely, you know, kind of contributes to a different feel just in your left hand when you're actually playing the guitar compared to a mahogany neck. We have a very clean ebony fingerboard, no inlays whatsoever, but it is, again, bound in tortoiseshell with some nice purfling. You can see that little bit of framing on the face of the fingerboard to break up the dark binding from the dark fingerboard itself. And then we've got a very clean ebony headstock veneer, again, bound in tortoiseshell with a nice purfling frame. Nickel Waverly tuning machines in this case here. Just really, really sharp looking stuff, almost like a reverse tuxedo kind of a look. Have the standard 1 3/4 inch nut width with the standard modified V neck profile on this guitar, and the standard 2 3/16 spacing down here at the ebony belly bridge on this guitar. Sitka spruce braces, which have been fully scalloped, fully, you know, voiced by the folks at Collings there for this little guitar. Nice barky, punchy sound to this. I think that maple really is just punching the volume and projection straight out of the front of this guitar. It really has a cool sound to it. Hear some nice artifacts of harmonics coming out of that, but again, not a totally, you know, drenched in reverb kind of tone. Just a great sound for a single O, you know, small body little guitar. Good stuff, man. It's a cool guitar. Very cool. Like that nice dark fingerboard among the rest of the light stuff on there. That's cool stuff. On to an absolute tone machine that we have recently received from our friends at Goodall Guitars. Sip of water here for a moment. Folks, as always, do not be shy with the comments. If you just want to tell us what guitars you're jamming on this weekend or who you're jamming with, going to see it. The weather is finally, for some people, starting to get a little bit nicer. You going to see any shows, any concerts anywhere? We would love to hear about that.
Yeah. We do have a question from David Vandermolen. Asked, why would a luthier install a belly bridge up or down?
Why would a luthier install a belly bridge up or down?
I guess, why are belly bridges always down? I guess you consider the mustache bridge like up.
I wonder if, and maybe he can clarify, just to make sure we're addressing the question in the correct way. Like Gibson, for example, sometimes their belly bridge is literally upside down, and then they'll slot it and drill the, pinholes the correct way, obviously. But
right.
If that is the nature of the question regarding those Gibson style guitars, I don't have an answer for you. I hate to say, I don't know. I don't know. And if I'm interpreting that question the wrong way, please certainly correct me, because I want to make sure I'm... Folks, we've reached the Goodall Grand Concert Cutaway, and boy, oh boy, this guitar has some lumber on it, and I am anxious to show it to you. Most importantly, this lumber sounds amazing. And it's seldom that that's not the case from Goodall, but let's take a look at this this beast here, Jandro. We've got a Bearclaw Italian spruce top on this guitar. Lovely figure to this Bearclaw top, and just a very, very nice bright blonde color once again. Classic for European spruce. Beautiful stuff. The body, the neck, and the headstock of this guitar are all bound in a real curly koa. And the sides are probably a dead giveaway that the back and sides of this guitar are an equal set of beautiful curly koa. Man, I just love that color. Boy, oh boy. Great figure, great color. I'll take this all day long. Back strip on this guitar is a matching nice strip of koa wood as well. Very well coordinated. I'll tell you what, when the wood is this beautiful, I don't mind a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Monotoned? Is that what I'm thinking of, Jandro? Kind of themed to the color.
Monochromatic.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Nice stuff. Nice koa heel cap there as well on the mahogany. Got just a perfectly jet black ebony veneer on the face of that headstock with the Goodall logo all the way up top there. We've got gold Godo 510 tuning machines with ebony buttons on there. Really clean looking stuff. This has the standard 1 3/4 inch nut width on this guitar with the standard C profile neck. This has a very, very, they don't refer to it as a V, but there is the ever so slightest presence of a little bit of a hump of a V back there. But I would very comfortably still say this is a C profile neck because it is ever so slight. We have the standard 2 1/4 spacing down here at the ebony bridge. Kind of a cool touch, something they've been doing more recently. I'll do that one more time. The bridge pins on this guitar are actually done in Pau Ferro, which is just a cool color. Pau Ferro is a great hardwood. Should certainly be a long-lasting wood, and the having the job of being bridge pins there. They are inlaid with mother of pearl. You can also see the mother of pearl dove inlays on the bridge there, which match the mother of pearl doves on the face of the fingerboard. And man, I'm seeing it in this camera now. I hope that you can see it at home. This ebony fingerboard has just some incredible flame to it, just figuring throughout the face of that fingerboard. Just very, very beautiful stuff.
I didn't notice that when it came in.
Yeah, I didn't quite see that until I got it in the right light. It's subtle, but when you see it, it's like, wow, that's fancy looking stuff. And just the vibrance and the shimmer that are present in a Goodall guitar like this it's seriously, I know one of a kind is the most generic way to describe anything, but it is one of a kind. There's nothing else like that out there. It's just vibrant and alive. Sucker projects. That is quite a loud guitar with very, very little effort coming from my right hand, I've got to tell you. I'm kind of a lazy guitar player, so I really like that a lot when it makes it easy for you. A lot of depth, man. That tone. Just love that. That sparkle. Goodall sustain, man. That's a thing. Very fine guitar. And of course, the grand concert is sort of the kind of medium sized, not giant guitar.
Hold on. One sec.
Working on one of the camera angles here, folks. Just bear with us for just a moment. The joys of being live. That's why Jandro is here, to come to the rescue, because I would be running in the corner, probably tearing up right now if I was here by myself. So,
and we're back.
All good?
All good. It's all your fault. We're all good.
Jandro forgot to change the battery in the camera. Blame him.
Ian Cummings says he's going to see Sting live in Vegas tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
And
holy cow.
jamming on his Triple O.
Sting in Vegas. That will be a show Ian, does he have a residency there? Let me know, or is he just going through town?
You trying to get tickets?
I mean, if you're buying.
Yeah, he says he's playing his Triple O Italian and Cocobolo Martin 12 fret.
Nice.
Hopefully soon to be jamming on a Kevin Ryan.
He
Adirondack
will
and
be
Brazilian.
jamming on a Kevin Ryan very soon. That we are lucky enough to be collaborating with him and with Ryan to have made. So, in fact, Ian, stay tuned. We've got a Ryan for you to hear today. Not quite like the one you've got coming, but similar in a lot of ways, actually.
And
staying in Vegas, man, that'll be cool.
Tim Vanderberg was curious why he's never seen any breed loves in any of our streams. He's guessing that it's a little outside of our wheelhouse, but was curious if we've played any.
Yes, and that was Tim, you said?
Tim Vanderberg, yeah.
Tim, good question. We are not a Breedlove dealer, so that is why, A, you don't see Breedlove guitars in our live streams, and B, you don't see Breedlove guitars in our shop because we're not a dealer. Occasionally, we will get a Breedlove or two in here on a used basis, whether it's traded in or consigned with us. So we do have them on a used basis occasionally. But we're not a dealer of theirs, unfortunately, for their brand new guitars. So that's the short, honest answer, for better or worse.
And Ian said, yeah, for a year he's had a residency over there.
Wow. Well, that must be a workout doing that. Well, compared to going on tour, maybe not as bad.
Not so bad. Not
of course,
as
if he's
traveling.
playing 2 or 3 shows a day,
yeah.
that might be a different situation. Folks, when this guitar came in just a couple of days ago, I had to, I'm going to not say double take, not going to say triple take, I'm going to at least say quadruple take the back of this guitar when I flipped it over and looked at it. We're going to get to that in 2 seconds, but I almost fell down. I was so shocked by the back and side sets of this guitar. You'll see what I mean in just a moment, and I hope that you share the same sentiment if you are a wood junkie like I very much am. This is a Bourgeois OM42, an amazing instrument in every single regard. Let's go ahead and get this over with, Jandro. Got a sunbursted age tone Adirondack spruce top on this guitar. I think that sunburst, of course, beautifully accentuates that nice shell inlay treatment around the border of this top. Of course, you have the fingerboard extension lined in shell as well as the rosette there. Just a beautiful classic Dana Bourgeois sunburst here. Absolutely adore the little snowflake inlays down there at the bridge. We're going to skip the back for 2 seconds. We're just going to go on to the headstock real quick. Headstock of this guitar is a beautiful dark Brazilian rosewood veneer. This is the floral headstock inlay. This is the no logo version. They do a slightly smaller version of this with the Bourgeois logo up top. I got to tell you though, I just love the almost Victorian kind of feel that you get from this inlay with absolutely no script or wordage up there at all. Of course, just to make sure you don't forget who made the guitar, they do put the logo on the back side, of course. I think after hearing it and playing it, there will be no question as to who made it, though. We have the beautiful DB Snowflake fingerboard inlay on that nice ebony fingerboard there. Very sharp, and of course those snowflakes tie in, of course, perfectly with the snowflakes and the bridge inlay down there as well. Really sharp, really nice stuff. The entire guitar here is bound in English holly. No, that is not grained ivoroid. It's not some sort of plastic or celluloid. That is wood. It is English holly. It is amazing. Every single fancy blonde bound guitar should be bound with this, period, as far as I'm concerned. We've got that on the fingerboard as well as around the headstock there as well. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I just love a good wood binding. And if it kind of mimics that kind of classic Martin ivory binding, hey, I'm not mad about that at all. All right, on to the back and sides of this guitar. We've got a shockingly perfect set of, yes, in fact, that is Brazilian rosewood. An amazing, amazing set of wood here. The quarter sawn straightness of grain with this back set cannot possibly be overstated. It is absolute perfection. I would do some awfully terrible things to get a hold of this guitar to own it. Let's just put it that way. Just amazing, amazing set of wood. Just, if you want to talk about stable stuff, this is absolutely it. An amazing set of Brazilian rosewood on this amazing guitar. And it certainly has a great head start in terms of, you know, it is unmistakably Adirondack and Brazilian rosewood. It sounds like it's got some nice maturity to it already. Let's get a pick out here real quick. See if I can go this whole live stream without losing my pick this time. Great woody tone, man. Beautiful warmth. I dare say a perfect example of an OM, man. It's just what else could you possibly want? Somebody's gonna be real happy with this guy.
Yeah, that one's nuts. The dark moodiness of it without losing any sort of clarity.
Exactly. The warmth with the simultaneous definition of everything is not something you often hear in a brand new guitar. And man, I'll tell you what a head start.
David Vandermillen is curious if Brazilian rosewood is still exported from Stormfell of stumps, or do makers have just used their remaining inventory?
You know, the majority of the stuff that I request from folks like Dana, folks like, Richard Hoover at Santa Cruz Guitars. We do a lot of Brazilian rosewood with Preston Thompson. I wish we could get more Brazilian rosewood from Collings. We will be doing a fair amount of Brazilian rosewood with this gentleman right here in the near future. The stuff that I tend to request from those folks is the oldest growth stuff that they have access to. We tend to be looking for the most stable wood out there. So if it's possible to avoid some of the less stable stuff, and in some cases that can be referred to as stump wood or whatever you want to call it, we avoid that in most cases if we can. Not to say there's anything particularly wrong with it, but these, in my mind, are without question heirloom instruments that should be and hopefully will be handed down to children, nephews, nieces, grandchildren, whatever the case may be. And I'll tell you what, I would love to see these guitars last for as long as possible and be cared for as long as possible and create music for as long as possible. And stable wood will just simply give you that ability more so. So we try to get the old growth stuff, long story short. Good question.
And I just got news that this guitar that you're holding just sold.
Uh-oh.
So.
Seriously?
Yeah. We should still demo it, but yeah.
Well, sorry, guys. I'm kidding. There's no way I'm not playing this.
Yeah, it's too cool not to play.
I know we're here to sell guitars, but I kind of hoped I'd be able to spend a little bit more time with this one.
We sort of just foster them, right?
What's that?
We foster them.
We
take care of them for a little while and we send them off on their way.
That's a very responsible way of looking at it. Folks, this is the very, very first new guitar, I should say. We've had a couple of Dale's guitars through our shop in the past, but this is the first brand new example of a Dale Fairbanks guitar. Incredibly gifted luthier out of Vermont. I am ecstatic to have his guitars in our shop here. Of course, Dale's been a luthier for a very long time. More recently, he's been contributing with the folks at Iris Guitars to some of their builds and designs and so on and so forth. And we have proudly been an Iris dealer for almost as long as Iris has been a company. So we thought, man, if we can get a hold of Dale's guitars as well, we would sure love to do that, and here we are. This is the F50, as I said, the first example of one of his guitars that we've had in the shop on a brand new basis, being an official dealer for Fairbanks Guitars now. This is the quintessential Super Jumbo. This is a big dog. I will tell you, though, you might see my arm reaching here a little bit. The waist of this guitar makes it a reality that this is not an impossible guitar to play at all. Sitting down, for sure. Standing up, probably even less difficult because you're not reaching over anything particularly. But this is a surprisingly comfortable guitar despite being a big guitar. As I said, this is the F50. Let's take a look at this beauty here, Jandro. We've got a jaw-freaking dropping Sunburst top on an old growth Adirondack spruce top. They have, a number of different soundboard options that can be had. out of Fairbanks Guitars. This is their old growth Adirondack option, which is one of the higher end, more matured Adirondack spruce tops that can be had from their company. You can see the multi-layer black and white purfling around the top of the guitar. We can see the grained ivoroid binding all around the guitar, the body, the neck, and the headstock. I'll tell you what, this pickguard, they call this, what did they call this? Tiger Eye Celluloid. Man, oh man, if this isn't like something gorgeous out of the early 1950s or maybe even 40s, just that material, it's almost like a Jetson-y, or it's just amazing. It's adds a flair to this guitar that I absolutely adore, and it's beautifully bound in and of itself. And going back to the question about the pick guards, if we can even see, I'm going to try to show you at an angle. This is not what I would describe as the world's thinnest pick guard. If you can see it there, you can see that it's bound, and I will tell you what. It's a decent sized pick guard as well. If this thing could sound any better, I don't know if my brain could handle it. So we're going to leave the pick guard on there. Take a look at the back of this beauty. Incredible set of very, very tightly curled flame maple. Man, and that Sunburst, boy, oh boy, is that good stuff. I love how you can see the grain all the way up top, even in the dark spot there. Not too dark to where it becomes, you know, invisible. So nice intricate back strip on this guitar as well. That's nice. Very nice. Take a look at this headstock. We have got an absolute canoe paddle of a headstock on this guitar. Nice dark ebony veneer with some cool streaking in there, with a bold segmented diamond inlay there, with a nice fine little Fairbanks script logo there. I have to tell you, just the size relation of the big headstock to that relatively kind of petite headstock logo on the top there, that is just a very cool, very old school look. We've got Grover Imperial tuning machines here. It's the real deal there. Old school, baby. Flame maple neck on this guitar as well, with equally beautiful sunburst treatment. In fact, the figure and the sunburst of that headstock is, whew, man, I'd almost play this thing in you know, I was going to say in front of a mirror, but I realized you wouldn't be able to see the back of the headstock anyway. Well, I don't know what I'm thinking. Got the mother of pearl fingerboard inlay. Those are kind of diamond block inlays. Man, oh man, for not wanting to get a lawsuit from our friends at Gibson. This is an incredibly awesome execution of something that Gibson didn't do, and still looks totally in place. We've also got a beautiful Madagascar Rosewood fingerboard, some wonderful grain, and a beautiful Madagascar Rosewood bridge, all kind of custom features that we spec'd for this guitar. And man, this thing rules. Absolutely rules. It has the standard modified V neck profile, and I'll tell you, we were talking about soft V profiles with a little bit of this or that. This is a V profile. It's definitely got that shape to it. I love it. It's not a enormous neck, but it's got a bit of meat to it, and I love it. 2 5/16 spacing down here at the bridge. The whole thing feels like an old guitar immediately. It just does. Lots of power, a insane amount of presence to this guitar, and as I was just looking for descriptive words for this guitar, it is a band leader guitar. This thing can be the rhythm section, it can be the lead section. It would be an incredible vocal accompaniment guitar if you do that. Man, oh man, is this thing just rips. About a growl, man. That's got it. And if what Jandro told me is true, don't get your hopes up on this one because it sounds like it's sold. So again, the beauty of live, huh? On to an incredibly different guitar. Indeed. From my friends at McPherson. Very much so your big Steinway kind of sound right here. Real dramatic sustain and just linger of those notes. Folks, this is a McPherson MG 4.0 XP. We're going to talk about what all of that means here in just a second, but most importantly, it is a very big, complex, long ringing guitar. These are very well known and often seen in the worship setting, in churches, doing chunky, airy kind of rhythm. Lots and lots of note separation dialed into the mechanics of this guitar, which are all almost incredibly unique. They completely threw out the rule book when they were figuring out how they were going to engineer and design the McPherson MG guitars. Let's take a look at what we've got here from a wood standpoint, Jandro. We've got a beautiful, man, I'll tell you what, this is an incredible redwood top on this guitar. Absolutely clean looking stuff here. Fabulous looking soundboard. Body and neck of this guitar are bound in a nice curly koa. Got a little bit of a theme with koa binding today. I'm not mad about that at all. As I said, the neck is also bound in that nice koa binding there. Good looking stuff. Back and sides of this guitar, man, I'll tell you what, we got some great rosewood today. A filthy, amazing set of Madagascar rosewood, man. Super clean looking stuff. Just real straight. Just a little bit of figuring and grain on the outer lower bouts there, but man, just beautiful. Very consistent wood all the way through there. Really nice. We've got a jet black ebony headstock veneer there with the mother of pearl McPherson logo all the way up top. We've got the gold Goodall 510 tuning machines with the gold buttons on there, real classic looking. We've got a totally jet black ebony fingerboard, aside from the 12th fret inlay, which is done in maple and koa there. Nice little wood touch. Sorry for my hand condensation there. Kind of a cool stinger on the back of the headstock as well, just a sharp detail on the back of the headstock. And aside from that offset sound hole that does not pass under the strings, there is all sorts of tricks up these guitar sleeves, meaning the McPhersons in general. Not sure if I can show it with the way our lighting is in here. Yeah, if you can kind of peek in and see that brace inside the guitar, these braces in most of the places of this guitar are actually laminated. So they're spruce, rosewood, spruce braces, and they're able to get a lot of structure, a lot of stiffness, specifically in the back of this guitar, to give it really efficient projection out of the front end. I'm going to ask you to do that one more time, Jandro. Also, if I can angle this correctly, at this area right here, this fingerboard actually totally floats above the top of that guitar. It's cantilevered away from the top, allowing, the top to not be dampened by the, attachment of the fingerboard extension onto the top. Think of like a violin, a cello, an upright bass, kind of the same rough idea of what they're doing there. Just again, totally allowing this guitar, the top of this guitar rather, to just be as resonant as it possibly can be. All sorts of things like that. I won't go into all the details at this very moment of the neck joint, of the reinforcement in the neck, but trust me, it is not like any traditional guitar you've ever played. And they are an absolute joy to play. And lots of complexity in that sound. A lot of, especially with a Redwood top as well, a very responsive guitar for sure. Real easy guitar to play. Great action, great neck feel, has just a real soft V profile once again on this guitar. 1 3/4 nut on this guitar, and a 2 3/16 spacing down here at that ebony bridge there. Man, just great feel all the way around. Really, we've been a McPherson dealer for quite a few years now here at Eddie's, and every single time we get a new one in, all of us are just like, how do they do this every single time?
You didn't explain to the chat with MG 4.0 XP.
Yes, thanks for reminding me. MG is McPherson guitar. So if they ever decide to make a McPherson bass, I guess it would be called an MB. MG, McPherson guitar, pretty simple. 4.0. You'll see McPhersons out there that are labeled as 3.0s, 3.5s, 4.0s, 4.5s, and 5.0s. What that is referring to as the depth at the tail block down here. For example, this being a 4.0, it is 4 inches even at the tail depth here. A 5.0 would be 5 inches. A 4.5 would be 4.5 inches, and so on. XP is referring to the offset sound hole here. Normally, if this were a non-XP guitar, this sound hole would be very slightly smaller. The XP is the larger port here in the face of the guitar. The majority of what we tend to order and get from McPherson, just for pure reference here, do tend to be the XP models. Those seem to be a little bit more popular across the board as far as I can tell. So maybe a little bit more common than the non-XP versions. These do have their own proprietary voiced and set up electronic systems that are made in collaboration with LR Bags. And I will tell you, you could plug this thing into a broken amplifier and it would sound awesome. I've plugged these into, of course, we plug them into acoustic guitar amplifiers and the Bose towers and nice PA systems with preamps, and they're amazing. I've literally plugged these guitars into Fender Deluxe reverbs, and it sounds pretty darn good. The pickup system just works great in these. Very, very good for, again, you see them live all the time and, you know, kind of modern country, worship settings a lot. Singer-songwriter stuff. A lot of finger-style guys really love the articulation and note separation, sustain that you get out of this guitar. Good stuff. And man, Madagascar Rosewood in the context of this build style is awesome.
You know, that's Steve Vai's favorite guitar because it has the monkey grip.
Did you come up with that?
Yeah. I talked to Steve about it. I called him earlier.
Oh, I know
that's
you
my
and
favorite.
Steve are pretty tight.
Yeah.
Dr. Vai.
You know, it's been a while since we've done a video, an extended video on one of those. I looked it up. It's 2020 is the last time he did a 4.5.
On a McPherson?
Well, we did the camo one not too long ago.
Oh, like a wood one?
Yeah, but the last wood one was 3 years ago.
Holy cow.
We should go into that again.
Thanks for calling me out, Jandro. Jeez.
Well, we can get into like the details of how they attach those necks and all that crazy
For
stuff.
sure.
It'd be fun.
For sure. There are, and it's worth going into. And in fact, if you don't know what I'm talking about and are curious, seriously go to the McPherson Guitars website. They've got a beautiful layout of how they do their bracing, how they do their neck joint, and the bolts and the sophistication of the bolt system that they use to put their neck on their guitar. Again, the carbon fiber reinforcement in the neck. That is a non-adjustable neck in that guitar. There's no truss rod adjustment of any kind. And I tell you this, I have never played one that has less than perfect playability and setup. There's something magical about their combination of stuff that they do there. But
yes, there is.
Really, really glad to have them here, and their carbon stuff is absolutely amazing too. I'm gonna get one of their carbon guitars before too long here, man. I can't wait. Folks, we have reached another big boy. This might have the longest neck, certainly has the longest scale length of any guitar that we're looking at today. And as I say that, I'm realizing, Jandro, you might want to pull up the website and remind me, if you don't mind, what the scale length is on this one when you get to that point. No rush. We have pulled down the Baritone 2HA with Wenge back and sides. And man, I'll tell you what, if there was ever I'm going to just say perfect baritone, this pretty much has to be it, I think. You know, Collings is known for building a fairly traditional style guitar, but they do have an extra presence of clarity and fidelity oftentimes in their sound, and something that they've over the years really kind of been come to have been known for, that kind of sound, extra articulation. That build style in the context of a low-tuned baritone guitar. Just for reference, this is strung B to B rather than E to E like on a standard guitar. It's just absolutely phenomenal how these come out.
The scale length came in at 27.5.
27.5, man, that's Griffin would be proud with that scale length. Griffin is our resident baritone and long scale and multi-scale 7-string guy. He likes the
lower the better.
The low-tuned guitars. As I said, it's tuned B to B. This is actually a 13-fret guitar. You'll see that the neck joint falls right here at the 13th fret between the 12th and the 14th, of course, is where 13 resides, right between those two numbers. And again, just depth, man. Holy cow. It almost sounds angry when you dig into it like that. What a sound. Let's take a look at these woods here real quick, Jandro. We've got an Adirondack spruce top on this guitar. I think that's a perfect choice, being a nice, stable, kind of stiff soundboard to really drive out those low notes. There's got to be, I don't know exactly where the string tension falls on a baritone guitar with a thicker baritone set of strings like this, but I've got to think that Adirondack, just from a structural standpoint, would be a good strong wood to handle some good tension there. And it's a big old top. As I said, that's kind of that slope shoulder dreadnought 13 fretter, nice long body there. Really project that bass response out real nicely. This is a 2H guitar, so we're going to have the grained ivoroid binding on the body of the guitar. We're going to have that nice classic herringbone, and of course the 2 style rosette, which is kind of a 28 style rosette. Tortoise shell pickguard there. The back and sides of this guitar are a lovely set of very straight grain Wenge, and man, I love Wenge. I probably would not want to build a guitar out of Wenge because I understand that it's hideously difficult stuff to work with from a woodworking standpoint. Very splintery, can be a little bit difficult, can even, when you sand it, get in your lungs and cause some havoc depending on your makeup. But beautiful stuff, and man, oh man, does it sound great. I don't see enough Wenge out there, I've got to tell you. I love to see it, I love to hear it, I love to play it. Great stuff, and very cool in the context with the Adirondack top, and again the baritone scale length and makeup of this guitar. Just a really me just tell you, if you are a musician, a guitar player, a singer-songwriter, whatever you want to call yourself, that maybe you feel like you've creatively are a little bit stuck in a rut, maybe feeling mildly uninspired lately, pick yourself up a freaking baritone, and I promise you all of your problems will go away. These things just make your brain kind of approach things in a little bit different way, and not simply from the aspect of, transposition of keys or whatever, but just sitting down playing by yourself and playing the same tunes that you maybe play all the time, like me, in a different context, different sound, different register. It's good stuff, and it'll absolutely get your creative juices flowing. I've seen it a number of times with baritones that we've sold to folks here, and they just say, man, I play it so much, it makes me play my other guitars more often too. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Just picking up something that's so
Total.
different, but
and,
also
and you
similar.
can. It's not like a brand new instrument in that you don't know how to play it, and you're trying to figure it out. You can kind of still do a lot of the same things. It's just the delivery of it is just drastically different, which is really cool.
Definitely.
Folks, we've reached an instrument that had social media, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, almost on fire when they posted the original photos that they took of this guitar. This is another guitar from my good friends at Bourgeois Guitars up in Lewiston, Maine. This is an OMC 42 style, and boy oh boy have we done some customizations not only to the woods but practically to all of the appointments on this guitar. We are absolutely floored by this guitar. Rightly so, man. Let's take a look at this thing real quick, Jandro. We've got an aged tone Bearclaw Sitka spruce top, and man, oh man, is that good stuff. Just look at the incredible depth of figure to that Bearclaw there. Awesome, awesome stuff there. Unbelievable figure. Just really three-dimensional. Of course, in 42 style treatment, you can see that beautiful, colorful Powa shell, abalone shell going around the perimeter of the top, going around the fingerboard extension here, as well as around the sound hole at the rosette. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff, especially popping out of that nice warm Sitka spruce top there. Binding on this guitar all around is curly koa binding. Once again, body, neck, and headstock of this guitar. Nice tortoiseshell pickguard as well. We also have a Brazilian rosewood pyramid bridge because, you know, why not? Back and sides of this guitar are an absolutely beautiful set of Hawaiian koa. And man, oh man, talk about beautiful wood. The colors, the multi-dimension of colors for that matter, and the almost figure upon figure type of effect, very three-dimensional as you move it in the light there. Just really has an incredible depth of figure. Man, this is just insane looking koa, including the sides there. Really beautifully intricate stuff. We've got the boxed tail wedge there, also done in koa. Really nice little mitered situation there. Really nice. You're going to see a missing end pin there. They actually ship all of their guitars without the end pin installed. So no, we didn't lose it. No, we didn't break it. It's in the case. That's just how they come.
What? Man, that's the second sound hole.
Oh, is that the sound port that they told me about? Oh, okay. That's for the people that are listening to my hard right.
Yeah. It happened to be little kids. They're very short.
Headstock on this guitar is a beautiful slab of Brazilian rosewood. We've got the petite vine inlay on that headstock, along with the mother of pearl Bourgeois logo. Those are gold engraved Waverly tuning machines. See if we can get an up close of that engraving on there. It's really good stuff. I think that those gold tuning machines just tie in perfectly with all the koa appointments of this guitar. Brazilian rosewood fingerboard with the petite vine inlay on the face of the fingerboard there. Beautiful stuff. We don't tend to do a ton of tree of life, vine of life, vine inlays, stuff like that, but on this guitar, it just seemed like the perfect touch. I absolutely am so glad that we did it. There's another few other options we could have gone with, but I think this just perfectly suits the sort of what I almost think is a kind of contemporary style from Bourgeois in this guitar. Of course, being the cutaway and everything, koa back and sides as well. And this guitar is a fingerstyle delight. Just is the only way you can put it. See if I can get it in tune here properly. just pretty, man. It just is. Love it. Absolutely love it. Ain't hard to look at either.
Yeah, it's one of the most obnoxiously good-looking guitars I've ever seen. I mean, the Koa sets on there are crazy. The Bearclaw, insane.
Yeah, we love talking about the wood and the inlays and all that stuff, but man, it takes, I don't even know because I don't have it, an incredible amount of patience to get something to this point, even with like the finest materials as it has. The craftsmanship that goes along with that is never, ever, ever to be ignored. And man, oh man,
right.
That's... I love to see like world-class materials in the right hands. You know that it's getting the maximum potential that it's going to get to be the best thing that it can be when it's built by somebody like that. Man, oh man. Been lucky enough to play a few Ryan guitars in my day, and man, this one, since it has come in, has been haunting every single aspect of my brain, wondering who is going to end up with this, and are they going to love it properly the way that I would? Folks, this is a nearly miraculous sounding Ryan Paradiso grand concert. Jandro, let's take a look at this. I know I'm going to get carried away already. We've got a filthy, amazing European spruce top on this guitar. If you find anything wrong with it or what you think is wrong with it, let me know so I can send you something nasty in the mail. There ain't nothing wrong with this top. It is absolutely perfect, perfect, perfect. Just a super, super quick side note before we get to the back and sides, most importantly, of this guitar. When I was working with the folks at Ryan, most specifically my good friend Amilcar, I kind of said, what if we did a very understated looking guitar in terms of ornamentation, inlays, extra pizzazz, but we used all just insane signature series grade tone woods on the guitar. So making, as I like to say and as I like to do in terms of speccing guitars, making the wood the star of the show. Amilcar was very excited about the project. I have to credit him mostly with this because he really picked out the wood that made this what it is. Most importantly, it sounds amazing, but secondarily, it looks pretty darn amazing too. As I said, this top just is nuts. Perfect European spruce top. We've got a Brazilian rosewood rosette here that is lined on either side with some beautiful Paua shell there, giving it some really cool dimension. You can see it is a non-cutaway guitar, obviously, and you'll see the lack of presence of the shell inlay that is often done around the top border on a lot of Ryan guitars. We did more of a fiber inlay, a little bit simpler on this guitar. Of course, we still have the forearm bevel here done in ebony. In fact, the entire binding theme on this guitar is ebony. Of course, it has the acoustic flutes. And like all current Ryan guitars, this has all of their Ryan innovations. It has the micro adjust titanium truss rod. It has the EO laser relieve bracing. It has the honeycomb bridge plate. All the stuff that make a Ryan guitar a Ryan. Now on to the filthy aspects of this guitar are the back and sides, most importantly. An incredible set of, you guessed it, Brazilian rosewood. And no, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this set of wood, at least in my day. This is a very, very rare set of wood here. Incredible figure, seriously unique color to this. It looks like Jandro's hair from behind if we put a little bit more color on it. Turn around, Jandro. You'll get the idea. Just a bit of curl to some nice long hair there. Man, oh man, is that special stuff. And like I said, normally this set of wood would have been reserved for a full-blown signature grade guitar. We're talking a guitar that has a selling price of around $30,000 or higher. We did it on a, like I said, a little bit more understated guitar here with less pearl, less inlay, less shell. You can see the beautiful blue Powa shell Ryan logo up top. We have the fiber kind of violin purfling around the face of the headstock. The fingerboard of this guitar is pretty plain, except for the ghost inlay right there at the 12th fret. Like I said, again, just that beautiful rosette with that little hint of Brazilian rosewood in it there. Man, just nuts. Absolutely nuts this guitar is. Great depth, great fidelity. Man, overtones galore. Special stuff there. Jandro, can I borrow some money?
Did you leave a shimmer reverb on, or what happened?
Seriously, man. It's like it's got an effects processor built into it. Amazing. Scary. It is truly scary. Awesome.
Yeah, let's take another look at that back, because that's just nuts. I didn't believe you when you told me what it was.
So yeah, they were trying to guess before the paperwork came out on the guitar. The guys in the receiving room, including Jandro, they were like, "Man, is this walnut? I don't think it's koa." What were the other guesses?
I think, or maybe Tasmanian blackwood or something like that. It was like, it doesn't look like.
Or even in some cases like a weird maybe Macassar ebony, but again, just the color is so unique, just almost a golden kind of color to it. Man, it's
nuts.
Somebody gonna be happy.
Ian Cummings says there's just something about those non-cutaway Paradisos.
Yeah, man, you're not wrong.
Hey, Matt.
Yep.
Mind tossing me that Fairbanks? Get that packed up, ready to go.
That didn't actually sell, did it?
Nah, it did.
Folks, we got guitars disappearing. Excuse me for one moment.
No.
Thank you.
Hope nobody else wanted to hear that one again.
Rudy is the one who purchased this, so.
Rudy.
Yeah.
Do I know?
On Instagram, he was like, "Let Matt play this one."
Nice.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you, Rudy, indeed. I know a couple Rudys. I wonder if I know the Rudy that bought that. Whoever he is, he's a lucky Rudy. Folks, we have reached the last guitar of the day, and we sincerely appreciate you hanging with us this whole time, assuming you have been hanging with us the whole time. As I said, we got a little earlier start than normal, but wanted to get through some just seemingly extra special guitars today, and we never skimp on the very last guitar for those of you who stick it out the duration with us here, and we do not tend to skimp today. I've just pulled off the wall a Froggy bottom F14 Deluxe, and boy, oh boy, if I could ever see a reason to go into more debt, this is probably the best reason I've found in a long time. A wonderful, wonderful instrument here. Let's take a quick look at these woods here, Jandro. We've got an Adirondack spruce top on this guitar. As you can see, right off the bat, we chose to leave the pickguard off of this guitar. You will find the pickguard in the case should you want to apply it or have someone apply it for you, assuming you are the one that purchases this guitar. But we left it off. I just thought the clean look of this guitar would be really nice without it. Like I said, certainly would look great with it too. I particularly love those kind of small little Froggy bottom pickguards, but binding on this guitar is a nice curly koa binding, almost matching perfectly the color of the sides and back of this guitar. Really nice curly koa though for that binding. Very colorful abalone rosette going around the sound hole there, and an absolutely frightening set of Guatemalan rosewood on this guitar. This is gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. Nice colorful abalone back strip going down the center of the back there, matching that rosette on the face of the guitar really nicely. Man, just clean rosewood here, man. Like I said, we've got a theme today with just great, beautiful, straight rosewood on these guitars. Face of the headstock has another beautiful rosewood. In fact, this is actually Madagascar rosewood, something opted just for a darker face of the headstock veneer on this guitar. The nice abalone Froggy bottom frog logo on the face of the headstock. Nickel Waverly tuning machines. Those are, in fact, the snakewood buttons as well. Once again, just tying in nicely with the koa binding. Even the color of the back and sides itself in this case as well. Looks really good. Ebony fingerboard. This has the number 3 split diamond fingerboard inlays, notched diamond fingerboard inlays, standard 1 3/4 nut width, standard C neck profile. Again, a relatively slim C neck profile with that 20-inch fingerboard radius. And once again, as we typically do here at Eddie's, we opt for the slightly wider bridge spacing option. The standard, once again, is 2 3/16 at the bridge. We go with the slightly wider 2 5/16 on most all the Froggies we get through here. We do like to cater to the folks that like to play fingerstyle. This guitar is certainly not only limited to fingerstyle, though it does it beautifully. What an absolutely mature tone, man. This thing sounds like it's been played for 20 years already. Just wide open, warm, round, sweet. Man. What a bass response. If you are on the hunt for an old sounding guitar that is not old, that will play like a brand new guitar, educate yourself on Froggy Bottom. And if I can help educate you on Froggy Bottom, that is quite literally why I am here. So please call me if I can be of any help with that. But man, talk about character. Holy cow. amazing to think of what this thing will be like in 20 years, considering how it sounds now. Really amazing. Jandro, what have you heard off the wall today that you like, if you don't mind me asking? I know I was the one playing them, so answer
pick,
carefully
man.
there.
I'm gonna have to go with the Ryan.
Yeah.
Something about those overtones, the incredible shimmer coming off that guitar, and the size, and
at some point we're gonna have to
crazy.
do something to get mics that are like around my head or something. You know,
we can try like the over-the-shoulder mic.
Yeah, because that acoustic flute thing is no joke. It just isn't. That Ryan was amazing. This guy is pretty tough to deny. That Bourgeois.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, go on down the line. Geez, any of them. Folks, we have reached the end of the line here. So if you'd like to tell us what maybe spoke to you today, we would absolutely love to know. Jandro will, I'm sure, be feeding me that as he gets it. And like I said, we're very near the end here. So any last questions or points of interest, certainly let us know. We'd love to hear.
David said all winners, but the Huss and Dalton was the one.
Nice.
Ian Cummings wants you to play the Ryan again. I'm assuming he's going for that.
Yeah, I can do that.
The Tomas Montaños calling out that Froggy bottom that you're holding.
Tomas, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Said it rivals the fancier pointed instruments in the day, and its elegance and simplicity.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Not that I mind some of the shiny stuff from time to time. I've got a little bit of that myself at home, but when it comes down to the tone, man, holy cow.
Yeah, and that Bourgeois OM.
Yeah, we had absolutely no soft spots today in the live stream. We rarely do. But man, this was a heavy hitting day today. What a bunch of fun. Any parting thoughts there, Jandro?
Fabulous.
Good enough for me. Folks, thank you so much once again for joining us. We truly appreciate you. What is this, live stream?
51.
51. Man, I meant to announce the 50th last time with the Taylor live stream. In fact, if you missed that one, check it out. There's some pretty impressive Taylor guitars in our last live stream as well. We'll plan to be coming to you with live stream number 52 in the next couple of weeks, I would say. Looking forward to seeing what we get in the door between now and then. Like I said, we've had just an overwhelming amount of awesome high-end acoustic guitar shipments coming in, and this is the results of what we get to unbox every day. Absolutely a party every time the UPS or FedEx guy shows up. So I don't think he's ever seen people receive packages so happily before, but especially at a business. But that's how it kind of works here. Thanks again so much. Thanks to Jandro for running the show here for us. And folks, we will see you next time. Have an absolutely lovely weekend. Take good